Hey everybody, welcome back to the Seafarer Social Podcast. Very, very excited about this episode because I get to speak to somebody who I've wanted to get on the podcast for a long time. It is Mr. Vinayak Mohla. I first saw Vinayak in a conference, digital conference hosted in India a year or so ago, in which he was speaking to one of my other favorite guys from India, a guy called Karanveer Singh Nair, around the concept of how we can make seafaring more attractive to the younger generation. And then I had the pleasure of meeting him in person a couple of weeks ago at the IMO, and we've bounced a few ideas off one another. But this is someone who really understands how the mindset of a seafarer works and exactly the sort of practices we need to do to be able to make it more attractive. We will be speaking about India, but a lot of what we're talking about can be applied internationally. Sorry. And the final thing, sorry, forgive me, I should address you as Captain Mohla. The other thing that I find incredibly interesting about Captain Mohla is he's only ever been with one employer. So when we talk about how we can make the next generation committed and loyal to a brand, this is the perfect example of someone who's that exact thing. But without further ado, thank you so much for taking the time to speak to me, Vinayak. And how are you?
All well, all good here. And I was also waiting for you today. And thanks for inviting me for this podcast. And let's hope that we can uh, attract youngsters to this career, promote this career, and make shape a better maritime future.
I totally agree. But I guess before we can talk about how we can do things for the future, it's probably best that we address the past. So tell me about your experience, your career. What inspired you originally when you were younger to pursue a career in maritime?
Okay, very interesting question. And okay, if you may recall, there used to be a program called Star Trek long, long back, 1968. So I was impressed with Captain Kirk, and the punchline was space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of Starship Enterprise, its 5 year mission to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life, new civilizations, and to boldly go where no one has ever gone before. Then I read this book, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea by Jules Verne, and I was impressed by Captain Nemo, uh, captain of submarine Nautilus. And then my mother used to be my grade 6 teacher, and there was a chapter on Loch Ness monster. So I was already intrigued with so many things, and then my interest grew when I read Bermuda Triangle by Charles Bullrich. So, and I was interested in UFOs. So I thought I should go for a career where you can do something different. So the only career was either become an astronaut and go for interstellar space voyages, which is not available right now. So the rest next best was become a sea captain. So that's why I became a sea captain, and I joined uh, trading ship Rajendra in 1992. I did my graduation from there, and then I was there was campus elections, and I joined Anglo-Eastern as a deck cadet. I'm with the same company. The company offers not just a career, but a commitment. What have I ever done in life? Attending IMO meetings, representing India. I just recently chaired a drafting group at SSC 11, Ship Systems and Equipment Subcommittee, courtesy Anglo-Eastern. So I joined Anglo-Eastern the cadet, became captain in 2007, joined the training team ashore as a QHSC superintendent, auditor. Loved that. Then through Anglo-Eastern, I was also part of Government of India's team for writing model courses, for writing syllabuses, even the record books, courtesy Anglo-Eastern. And right now, I am looking at after the cadet recruitment for Anglo-Eastern, competency management, and I'm also the IMO Goodwill Maritime Ambassador for the years 2024 and 2025. And that is my brief introduction.
Wow. A lot of loyalty there. Very impressive. One thing I will ask though is going back to the beginning point you mentioned, am I right in assuming that you do not come from a maritime family?
No, I am not from a maritime family, and hardly I have ventured outside my hometown. My hometown is in the hills. It's a place called Dehradun in Uttarakhand, and my first interview was in Mumbai. So it was, but I wanted that type of career, that type of thrill. So it was very good for me.
See, one of the reason why I say that is because quite often, when you speak to crewing agencies and you say, "How are we getting this next batch of seafarers come through?" They say, "Well, quite often they come from maritime families." But then when I asked you what inspired you, the first thing you said was Star Trek, media, a movie,
Yeah,
right? So an external influence gave you an idea that later transformed into a career. That's very
absolutely,
interesting,
absolutely.
and something that I think we'll talk about a little bit more when we start looking at sort of the next generation. But what do you think are some of the common misconceptions that young people have about the maritime profession?
Okay, very good question again. Uh, a very common misconception is that merchant navy is defense. It has to do with submarines, torpedoes, warships, etc., which is not the case. So many youngsters, they are not able to differentiate between what is merchant navy, what is actual navy. So that is a very big misconception, at least in India. And the second misconception is life at sea is boring and isolated. The thing is, people are not aware of what actually happens at sea. They are not aware that modern ships have got gyms, they've got recreation rooms, and all those facilities, and even the internet is available on board nowadays. So these people are not aware. So that is, they think that how can you, if you take a voyage from say South Africa to Montreal, it takes about 20 days. What you do on 20, for 20 days on board? So how do you pass your time? Oh my God, what you do? So they think that the life is very isolated, very boring, which is not the case. Which is not the case anymore. Third misconception which I find is, oh, this profession is not for girls. No girls can ever join this profession, which is actually incorrect. So if you look at the statistics by BIMCO ICS, in 2021 we had, out of 2 million seafarers, we had 24,059 women seafarers. That is only 1.2%. So girls are joining in, and of course all companies are taking them, but that is a misconception among the students, among people, that this profession is only for men, but which is highly incorrect. Then there is a misconception that there is no work life balance. They think that on ship you have to work 24 hours a day, and you have to work 12 months a year, which is also wrong. Nowadays with MLC, with STCW, everything is regulated. And you have, and when you are home, say if you are having a 6 on 6 off, when you are at home, you are totally at home, unlike the
Mm,
show professions where you'll get this meeting at this time and this call at this time. You are at home 24 hours. You can go. Actually, this is the reason, also one of my liking of joining the profession, because you have got long leaves. So if you join any other profession, people will say, "Arey, what happened? You're not going. No job for you." Here, they don't know whether you're coming or going, and you can
mm.
you can have your hobbies. You can visit places. You can be with your family 24/7. No other profession can do it. Then the last misconception I think is that it's a very risky or dangerous profession. God knows what happens on board. And I said dangerous as compared to what? You're not in special forces. It's a very highly specialized profession. If you look at the statistics, it is sea is safer because of the regulations as per IMO, SOLAS, STCW. All these regulations have made sea a safer place, but the youngsters, some still feel that it is not safer. And of course we do have accidents of piracy, and nowadays that Houthi attack and all, but those are very regional. If you look at merchant navy as a career, I think if you ask me to cross a road and join a ship, I think joining a ship is easier and safer than crossing a road in some parts of the world.
Yeah, I think that's a very interesting misconceptions that and a lot of them I can echo. Let's talk about them a little bit. Regarding the last one you mentioned, that seafaring is dangerous. I think the big issue we have there is that we are constantly seeing that the big stories hitting the media. For example, even in my country, you've probably seen it this week off the coast of the North Sea. We had a big collision, right? Um, that is what's being spread by all of the major media outlets. It's death, it's tragedy, it's insurance claims, it's pollution, it's blah blah blah. So it's constantly feeding into the narrative that this is a negative industry where bad things happen. That's not helping, right?
Absolutely. And if you look at other industries in India, we see I love Indian Navy, I love Indian Air Force, but you never see anything I love Merchant Navy. And look at the movies made in India. We had a movie called Fighter just recently, Top Gun. All the youngsters they want to be like Tom Cruise. And if you
Mm.
look at Merchant Navy movies, we have Captain Phillips. Oh my God, this is really a dangerous career to go to Somalia. And if you look at news headlines, Captain behind bars,
Yeah.
criminalization of seafarers, Houthi attacks, piracy. So people will always, because they are not, see, youngsters, they don't have access to what has happened. They just look at the podcasts, the Instagram, the stories which are now running. So they say that this must be a dangerous career. So, but I think it is not that dangerous. It's only the this piracy and issues are regional. But if you look at the merchant navy, the career, it is still a safer bet. You can go from place A to place B safely. You can be away from your family for some time. You got internet on board. It's a rewarding career, good salary, good pay structure, good travel. You're traveling free of cost around the world. No other company, no other occupation will give you this. And when you're home, you're totally at home. So I think it's a good career, which is really youngsters can look forward to.
Yeah, I agree. Um, One of the other points, and I want to tie it into what you do at Anglo-Eastern now. One of the other points you mentioned is the misconception that this is an industry just for men, and that actually it is open to women, and we are seeing more women are exploring the concept of joining the merchant navy. Um, but what we do also hear is that a big issue with women is eventually they choose to have children. And when they have children, we do quite often see a dip right there because naturally, you know, some mothers are not going to want to go back to work because they're going to want to focus on being a mother, and that's fine. Um, and then from the shipping company's perspective, and correct me if I'm wrong, there's also a fear that we could invest money into training into this individual, and then they're going to leave us by the time they're 30 or whatever. So my question to you is how, firstly, is what I'm saying correct? And secondly, from the shipping company's perspective, how do they approach the maternity of a woman that's working at sea?
So see, if you ask me, first of all, there are not many women. As I mentioned, it's only 1.2%. And the
Sure.
women who are there, they have got also varied options. In case they are not interested in going back to sea, they can join the company, they can join the shore office. In case they are not interested. But we had so many female masters from India uh, in the last couple of years. Uh, Women are joining, and in case somebody has that type of issue and they are not interested, they've got a plenty area of sure jobs available. You can become a you can join the manning office, you can become a faculty, you can inspire others to join. So there is no dearth of careers, because see, in India, what also happens is when you are in this profession, you're also getting a graduation degree. So
Mm.
that also opens a lot of avenues. So the girls joining, they already graduate, they already have got, I think, BTech in electrical, electronics, mechanical. So they are well versed. And if they want to join also, if they are not interested in sailing, they have got plenty careers available ashore. So in that way, I can say that uh, we are well versed, we are well attuned in case somebody wants to leave. And same thing happens with the youngsters, with the male candidates also. A lot of male candidates, they venture out and they want to do something different, some higher education. So it's open to everybody. So I will not differentiate males and females on this ground.
Mm.
It's a fair ground for everybody, and
Yeah,
you
I think
have to decide what you want to do in life.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. And what I think is really interesting is for parents that do seek to have a life where they can be the best mum, the best dad, and also the best corporate, the best seafarer, whatever. Um, this career is so perfectly placed because when you're working, and when you're off, you're completely off. And you mentioned that
A-
earlier on, and I think that's so powerful because there's actually not that many careers available that offer you that nowadays.
Absolutely. And just imagine that you can go back to sea after 1 year, 2 years also. Nobody can stop you. You just need to have the certification.
Yeah, I agree. So let's talk about technology and digital transformations. And I don't want to talk about the typical digitalization conversations that people have around autonomous shipping and safety and all these things. I think what's really interesting is how can we use technology today to attract the next generation, because if you go on Google and you search what's costing the industry the most amount of money that's to do with seafarers, it will hit you back with recruitment and retention, right? How do we recruit the next generation and how do we retain them? What role do you think technology plays in that?
Technology plays a major role. First of all, if you look at the seafaring scenario today, on board a ship, there's a lot of technology. Look at the way the industry has evolved in last 15 years. Earlier, there used to be paper charts. Now it is ECDIS. We got integrated bridge systems. We got integrated navigation systems. We got condition monitoring systems. So technology has made our life a lot easier. Only thing is we need to just attract the youngsters that this is not a menial job. You are working with technology. And if you look at the other technologies coming in, it's now ability to read sensor data, uh, big IoT. So all the industry is moving in a very, very forward direction. Long back, there used to be no phone calls on board. Now it's internet, Starlink. It is the speed is fantastic. So these factors are really helping getting youngsters interested in the profession, because everything is now technology. It's not like menial work. And if you look at connectivity at sea, it is even in some ships the connectivity is faster than what you will observe at home or in your office. So things have become very, very easy nowadays. And you're right, the technology is coming in, the autonomous systems are coming in, but they're coming in at a very, very slow pace. If you look at the first autonomous car in the world, it was made in 1980s. And now
Mm.
we are in 2025, almost 45 years.
And they're
And
still
this
not perfect.
Absolutely. And we are also on a working group for MAS, that maritime autonomous surface ships. The non-mandatory code will come maybe next year, and the mandatory code will come later on. But look at the levels they have. So the level one is just a ship with automated systems. So it will make life easy on seafarers on board. Level two, when they progress, I don't know maybe how many years now, but when they progress, it will be a remote control ship with seafarers on board.
Mm.
It's like, earlier we had this unmanned machinery spaces where the engineers used to be on day work. And if we are able to progress further, I don't know how many years it takes, but level three is remote control ships without seafarers on board, and level four is fully autonomous ships. But it will take time, as I mentioned. For car, it has not, it is still not. You don't see cars in London fully autonomous. So
Yeah, exactly.
it's crossing the Atlantic, crossing fishing channels, autonomous ship with the cyber security. What if somebody hijacks the ship? It's not that easy. It's not going to go as smooth as possible, but of course the technology is there. When we can make a person land on moon, uh, the technology is there to take a ship from place A to place B, but it will take time to get to this level of sophistication.
Yeah, I agree. And the role that technology plays, I think, you are right when it comes to the autonomous side. It will take time, and and hopefully, we can many a seafarers can still have a full career by the time that this we ever reach this position. But when it comes to connectivity, what I find really interesting is because the world of connectivity is becoming more competitive, more players are coming into the market, Starlink, Marlink, Inmarsat, and they're competing against one another. What you're finding is that this drives the price down. So, so,
Absolutely.
so connectivity is becoming more affordable. And eventually, I actually don't think it's unrealistic to think that eventually we're on trajectory way whereby a seafarer will only spend, say, the same amount of money they spend to have broadband in their house. That's the direction that I think we're heading in.
Absolutely agree. And as I mentioned, the internet connectivity on the ships, some of the ships with Starlink is much better than you can observe at home with broadband in the office. So things, and I tell you, even we are able to conduct classes, webinars on board, having the actual seafarers. So can you just imagine having a webinar, 2 hour webinar, showing the real machinery
Yeah,
from the faculty side to the ship side? So and this is just the beginning. With this digitalization, things are going to move on a very, very high level of trajectory.
yeah, I agree. Another point that I want to talk about, and I know this is something you're very passionate about, is the important role of role models. I think role models, everybody has their own kind of role models. And I think nowadays, young people typically find their role models through social media. I think that's a very important element of media nowadays. Yes, people still read books. Yes, people still watch TV. But we are all, as in our 20s and young 30s or whatever, and teenagers are spending more and more hours consuming media on our phones. Your country, India, has produced a vast range of these seafarer social media influencers: Karanveer Singh Nair, Sailor Lens, Ashish Thakur, Praneet Mehta, so many of them who have amassed large following on YouTube and Facebook. And the sort of each of them has their own characteristics and personalities, but the sort of common denominator is they are all creating value for the industry, for the seafarer, and promoting this as a career. How important do you think the role of role models are in seafaring?
It is very much important, and especially when the role models are ex merchant navy employees. It is better to have a role model as a captain or a chief engineer, because then you can bridge the gap between the reality and what is the expectation. So they can really guide you, because a lot of if you look at social media, a lot of misconceptions are also float. But if you have a role model who has already been into that profession, who has navigated the ship or have been in the engine room, it passes on practical wisdom. It builds confidence, and it creates leadership change. Because if you're mentoring some youngster nowadays, uh, that same youngster will mentor others to come in the profession. So
Mm,
it is very much important, and I really appreciate the work of the individuals you mentioned, the social media influencers. At least what they are doing is they are even creating awareness about this profession, which is really lacking. Because when you visit schools and colleges, uh, people are not even aware of there's a profession called merchant navy. So what they have done is, at least they are taking it to a different level, and which is helping the full industry, not in
mm.
India but everywhere in the world. Because see, social media is open to the full world. It's not restrictive to one country. So that is the advantage of role models, especially the social media influencers, because their outreach is much higher than the companies themselves. You can reach to 600,000 people at one with one message, which is very difficult if you are going to one particular school or college and you are just taking a career session with 40-50 people. Of course you can also put that on Instagram, and uh, people will be interested. But I admire the work of influencers, Karanveer and all. Fantastic.
And one of the things I think is also really interesting, and I wonder if it's the same in India, is here in the UK, what I'm finding when I speak to young people is because there are there is more availability and opportunities to choose from. What we're actually finding is that young people sometimes get so overwhelmed by the choices that they live in the "I don't know what I want to do with my life" zone for longer. So someone might still be figuring out what they want to do with their life into their 20s. All it takes is just for one of these videos to end on their feed and inspire them on making a decision that pursues a career for longer. Are you finding that in India? Are younger people struggling to pick what they wish to do with their lives for longer durations?
Absolutely. See, a youngster in India has got a lot of choices. A lot of choices: engineering, banking, medical. Uh, Only thing is, he or she is not aware that there's a profession called merchant navy or marine
Mm,
profession. So these influencers, at least they are putting that profession in their map. Of course, it is the youngster who will decide where he wants to go, he or she wants to go. So at least he or she knows that there's a profession called merchant navy. And if you look at the statistics, uh, there are only 2 million seafarers in the world. 75, 80, 80 to 90% of the world's economy is through ships, merchant
mm,
ships. And if you look at the PIMCO ICS report of 2021, which mentioned that there's a shortage of about 89,000 plus seafarers by 2026. So if the new persons are not coming in, how are we going to address the problem 10 years from now? And it
mm.
is not talking about India, the full world. That ICS BIMCO report is applicable to the full world, and it's a shortage of the officers, 89,000 plus officers shortage. So industry must reach out, must do a outreach program, at least create awareness about this profession. And that's where I admire the work of the social media influencers. At least they're putting this in the map. And even I've also requested the administrations at least reach out to the schools, youngsters, make a small curriculum, grade 6, grade 7, that there's a profession called merchant navy which is responsible for the transportation of goods from place A to place B. At least it should be in the map.
So just to be clear, then, is there, the average Indian child teenager that goes through school? It's highly unlikely that they will ever hear the word merchant navy right now. There's nothing there.
Absolutely. Not many people are aware. Not many people are aware because we visit schools and colleges and career fairs,
Wow.
and you can make out most of the people are interested in now business, economics, and uh, so it's difficult to get good people, interested people coming to our stall also in some cases because they are not aware of the profession.
Yeah, it's the same here in the UK. Actually, there's certain areas like where I live near Southampton, which is a maritime city, that there is more stuff out there, careers, offices. But I think if you're based somewhere in the Midlands or whatever, there's nothing because there's no real maritime culture. Um, so I think you're definitely right. If we could create some kind of relationship with the education systems and inspire kids at an earlier age, that would definitely have a net positive effect in the future. What about career progression opportunities? So let's say, for example, I mean, you're a perfect example of this. Someone who's been with the same company pretty much all your life, and you've transitioned from sea to shore. What sort of opportunities are there for young people joining the maritime industry? How easy is it to make that transition?
It is very, very easy. So my advice to youngsters is when they join the profession, at least get their command, become a captain or become a chief engineer. And thereafter, the full thing opens to you. You can be a arbitrator, you can be a broker, you can be an auditor, you can be a trainer, you can join the insurance department, you can join a P&A club, you can work with regulatory bodies, you can be a pilot, you can be a survey. So there are plenty. They have to choose what they like, and if they are not interested, nothing like being at sea. You can be at sea till even 65, 70 if you are mentally, physically fit. Nothing like it. And right now, there are so many options available to the youngsters. As I mentioned, it is up to them to choose. But I would still suggest when they're joining the profession, at least get the command, become a chief engineer. That should not take, if you take less leaves, by 27, 28, you can command a vessel or
Wow,
become a chief engineer. And then you
really?
decide where.
That
Yes,
quick?
that quick, that quick. Provided you don't take many leaves. and provided that you are able to clear all the examinations in the first go.
Sure. And how many other professions out there can you reach the top of the rank system in that quicker time?
Absolutely not, hardly any. Can you just imagine that you're commanding the ship at the age of 28, 29, 30, whatever,
Yeah.
and which other profession will give you? It will take years to become CEO.
Yeah. Well, and even if you look at the military, I was just researching it the other day in in the UK Army. You know, the average captain is in the 50s because they have to go through a slow paced elevation process,
Absolutely.
and it's not like that in the merchant navy. Which means, and let's face it as well, it also means that if you're good at your job and you push through the ranks, you could be earning $100,000 a year by the age of 30. That's a lot of money.
Absolutely. And nobody can stop you because you are in demand. There's a shortage of seafarers and you got the certificate of competency. It's your choice which company you want to go and why not.
Yeah, I agree. In terms of the choices you have, though, of what company you want to go in, I think another issue that some of the shipping companies are facing is retaining talent and keeping loyalty. And this is a generational thing because what we're seeing is that young people now, not just in maritime, but as a whole, are moving around more. That's a thing now. We're becoming more competitive. You're somebody that's been with one employer your whole life. What did Anglo-Eastern do in your experience, and what can shipping companies do with their seafarers to retain them? How did they make that experience for you such an easy one to decide I'm going to commit my career to one brand?
So it is very, very simple. First of all, the companies, and of course, I was lucky to have Anglo-Eastern with me. First of all, the companies should respect the seafarers. There's a quote also. It is people will forget what you said. People will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. So if you treat people with respect, half the thing is done. Secondly, when they are on board, make sure that we have nutritious food, exercise and rest, and good social relations. And nowadays, very much important when I go for this career talks is the internet connectivity on board. For the youngsters now, that is the first thing. Of course, they want respect, but internet connectivity is a major point. They are not interested in the salary that much. It's because they want to get connected with the family. And then you showcase the career, like you're joining as a cadet. Where will you be after 10, 20 years, and what are the options available? So you need to showcase this career and have a better work life balance, that this is how you can progress, this is how many leaves you can take. And also important is the mental health. At least you should give them all the tools. In case of any issues, they can contact the company's officer. There are so many hotlines now, and that's why even the in the merchant navy also, the psychometric testing is very important nowadays. So that means we need to ensure that the right persons go to sea, persons
Mm.
who are mentally fit, physically fit. uh, so these are some of the issues. And also the company should have motivation programs, give them invite them for seminars, give them 10-year loyalty bonus, whatever, 15-year, 20 years. At least the people feel connected. So just if you are respecting them properly, having a good atmosphere, a safety and conscious atmosphere on board, they are they would be willing to sail for with you for so many years they want. And it is regardless of salary. It is how
Yeah,
you treat people.
I think that's very powerful because when I speak to seafarers today, young seafarers who maybe don't feel valued enough by their company, even if they do stay with them, it's typically because they just want to earn the money. If that shipping company runs an incentive, so let's say for example they organize a non-mandatory seminar that they put some money together and then they ask their seafarers to come online or visit. If it's not paid, they won't go, and that's because they don't feel valued. But let me ask you this, Vaniak: if Anglo-Eastern was doing something, a digital conference that they asked you to attend, and you weren't being paid, would you go?
Of course, and we are doing. See, it's not about the money
Yeah,
and digital conference. You don't need to pay anything. It is very very easy. You need just internet and your home office, and you can attend. So a lot of we have a lot of these type of events which are non-mandatory, and we have got a lot of representation from seafarers.
because they have that loyalty to the brand.
Absolutely, because they feel connected. Because if you don't feel connected, and every contract, if you are looking around for different company, then of course for whatever reason, then you will not stick to any one company.
Yeah. I think that's so true. And as from a human psychology perspective, we're all looking to feel like we're part of something. That's part of our human psyche. So if a brand can incorporate that and let the labor workers know you belong to us, this is our family. We are a family. I think that really speaks value.
Yeah, yeah, you need to build trust. Then only you can create a better maritime future. At least loyalty, trust, that will come only when you are with the seafarers, when you treat them properly.
I agree. So to wrap things up, Vinayak, my final question would be, you know, you work right now with young people all the time coming through into the shipping industry. You're always at the IMO doing some stuff there from an ambassador perspective. You work for one of the biggest shipping companies in the world. My question to you now is, what's the vision for the future? What do you think the vision for maritime is bright? Are you someone that is hopeful for the future?
Absolutely, I'm very much hopeful. As I mentioned, there are so many job openings coming up, so many vacancies rising up. I It's a very good opportunity for youngsters to join the profession. Only thing is, we need to modernize it. We need to change the outlook of youngsters towards this profession. We need to integrate modern technology in training, because youngsters nowadays, nobody is interested in reading books and manuals. If you have this micro learning type of bite-sized videos, if you can create stimulator based training, because it's a company's initiative, because under ISM code it is a company's responsibility to train seafarers to join the ships, and they should be capable of joining and handling the equipment. So if you have good training in a simulator, see, youngsters nowadays, they need application based training, not classroom based training. Application based practical training. uh, for example, in our company we have got this uh, gamified apps, like you can uh, games, you can identify deficiencies, you can use virtual reality to your advantage. Imagine that if a youngster has not gone on a ship, and you give him or her the glasses, and he or she can go around the full ship. uh, it is definitely much better than asking him or her to draw diagrams, and okay, this is frame, this is the forepeak, and this is the after peak. So this is what needs to change, and this is changing around the world. So first thing is, we need to integrate modern technology in training, and which is happening. Secondly, we should update our curriculum, and luckily the STCW, which is the backbone of all training in the full world, it is under comprehensive review. Member states are participating, we are participating. So this is the right time to change, to bring about changes in the syllabus. I have been chairing drafting groups at IMO for so many years, and it is very much important that whatever we put in the syllabus right now, that will go at least for 20 years, so we
Mm,
can get rid of all the old outdated things, bring new technology, cyber security, similar training. So there's so many areas, and the best part is it is open right now. The review will be completed, and we can expect a new SSW by 2031, 32. So that is one thing which I'm hopeful. I hope that uh, the curriculum changes for the betterment of the seafarers. uh, and third thing, I would just request the companies, the administrations, just to promote the career by word of mouth, by going to schools, colleges, etc., and incorporate more soft skills in the training, whatever you're doing. So that means the youngster, when he or she enters this profession, it is good for him or her, that this is a profession he or she would like to be there for next 25, 30, 40 years. And as I mentioned, there are a number of options, but nothing like being in command of a ship. You are taking charge of a $1 million asset, having multi-million dollar cargo, and you are the man or woman on spot. So go to sea, and sea will make a man or woman out of you.
I love it. I do have one last question.
Yeah, yeah.
You answered very well for the vision of the future of maritime as a whole in the industry, but I want to bring it closer to home. You know, you live in the third or fourth biggest labour market for seafarers in India. What's the vision for the future of Indian maritime?
It is also good, and India, we are progressing well. Look at so many initiatives by the government of India, the DG shipping, Sagar mein Yog. There's so many, Sagar mein Saman. We are motivating the women seafarers, women to join the profession. We are changing the syllabuses. We are very proactive in this regard. We are very much proactive in the regard of mental health and well-being. We are partnering up with other good institutions so that at least this factors can be addressed. So I think the future is very bright for India. And of course, if we are able to do these changes in the full world, promote the profession, it will be a better place 10, 20 years down the line.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Vinayak. I really appreciate your time. It's an honor to be able to speak to you. Hopefully, I get to see you again in person in the not too distant future. But I think you've got fantastic ideas, a brilliant vision that's obviously been curated by working for a fantastic company in Anglo-Eastern. And yeah, I hope that we can do something together in the future. But thank you so much for giving me your time.
Thank you, Carl. It was a pleasure being here, and I love your work. I've been following your videos, and let's hope that we can uh, motivate the youngsters. We can make promote this profession and shape a better maritime future. Thank you.
I agree. Thank you.